Hello everyone, how are you doing? I am so happy and so excited to be here with you today. If you are new to Mom XVA, welcome to the best place on the internet and in the world for moms who are in or want to be in the virtual assistant industry. And like I always say, it's so much bigger than the VA industry. To me, being a virtual assistant means freedom, means having choices, means being able to put you and your kids first and have this life where you get to choose how you want to spend your time, what you want to do. And so, yes, we're going to be talking all things virtual assistant industry today. And we're also taking it a step further because being a virtual assistant means redefining what is possible. They're my client. So who's ready for that? I'm super freaking excited. A little bit about me, in case you guys are new. My name is Bree, and I booked my dream virtual assistant client in 3 days of launching my virtual assistant business. And so I'm going to be telling you all the things that I did to be able to do this. She was a $2K a month client. And then in my first full month as a VA, I booked 4 dream clients. My first full month too as a virtual assistant, I hit a 5K month, which is now exactly what I teach you to do inside this Facebook community. And then also in my program, the VA Leadership Academy, where you truly get the step-by-step plug and play system, job board, all of that good stuff. So let's dive in. Let's begin. I am so freaking excited. So first, we're going to be talking about applications, how to create a really, really good application, because the truth is that there are a lot of virtual assistants and there's a lot of open roles, but there's truly an art to how to create a really good application where people take notice, where it's not, just words blending in with each other and their eyes, blur over as they're looking at all the applications. How do you create an application so good that it stops their scroll and they've got to read every single word that you wrote? That is exactly what we're going to be talking about right here, right now. So first, my first tip for you is to really get to know the person that you're applying for the role with. Who are they? What are they all about? Don't use, yes, you can use ChatGPT, and I love ChatGPT, but make sure also that it's not this generic copy and paste script that you're using. You can work off of a framework, you have a specific flow for your applications, but the key here is to really personalize it to the person that you're applying with. So you read the role and you see that they are, I'm just making up an example, let's say they're in the equestrian industry. And so you're gonna go beyond the job application, you're gonna go to their website and see what they're all about. And here I want you to think too of what's your personal resonance and connection to them and to what they do. So we'll stick with the equestrian theme. Let's say that maybe you don't ride, but your daughter rides. Let me turn this off really quick here. Okay. Maybe your daughter rides, or you have a family member that rides, or you went to horse camp as a child. So you're asking yourself, what is the personal resonance and connection that I have to what they do? What do we have in common? Why do I care about what I'm doing? And you want to make sure that you put that in to the application. The other thing too, I see this a lot because I review applications just about every day for my students, is yes, make it about yourself, but you want to make it more about them. Right? So I think so often when we apply, we're like, oh, let me write out, 3 paragraphs on how amazing I am and all the things that I've done that I can bring to you and your business. Honestly, they don't care as much about that. They care more about why you care about what they're doing and what's the resonance and connection to what they're doing, and that you've gone above and beyond to really get to know them, who they are, what they care about, and that you also care about what they care about, right? So you want to go a step further than using templates and scripts and chat GPTs. Yes, that's all great to work off of, but make sure that you're really customizing and personalizing it, and that your applications are not 3 paragraphs of you just tooting your own horn. Talk about why you care about them, what they do, what it means to you, why you're so on board for their mission, their movement, their message, all of that stuff. Okay, my next tip for an application is to, 1, be really simple, clear, and concise. Use, language that anyone can understand and read, and also use data points. use data points. It's going to give you context, it's going to give you credibility, and they're going to be able to see and understand the ROI of hiring you, exactly what you can do and bring to their business. Now, if you have data, say you've done a past role, and I hope you listened to my training last week too, where I told you that you are an expert. You are an expert, even if it's day one of being a virtual assistant, because you're leveraging your professional background. This becomes your USP, the unique selling point that you bring into people's businesses. And so, even if it's been years since you have worked in an office, if you're home with your children, that's amazing. You can still bring these data points and metrics in, and say that maybe you don't remember, if you worked on an event. I'm completely making up examples here too, but say that you helped plan an event and you don't have the specific conversion rates or how many people you invited versus how many people bought tickets. You can still give data points using examples of what you've done. So I have 7 years of event planning experience, and I have planned 5 different events ranging from this type of event to this type of event, right? So you can still find data points within your experience that's really going to set you above and give you that credibility that those who aren't using data points don't have. So that's another one too, is put in numbers. Okay. And then my other tip too, and this also comes, I have a team of nearly 10, maybe 10, I gotta count, team members. And one of the things too, so in having reviewed applications for my own team, but also in helping my students write applications, is when we talk, I mentioned 3 paragraphs, right, of text. Now I want you to make it scannable. Because if you think about in the day and age, the digital age, all of us have attention spans of a squirrel. And we're so used to tapping through and not reading. And let's be real here. When is the last time that you read an email or a sales page word for word? Probably, I'm guessing it's been a while, right? Your eye is so intuitively trained to skip section by section, and you're looking for parts and pieces that pop out at you. And so you, as the creator of words of your application, you also want to be mindful of that and create it so that it's visually appealing and catches the eye of the reader. And the way that you can do this is essentially create your application, if you're writing a cover letter, and make it scannable. So, it's literally as simple as that. You can put bullet points. You can also bold key sections. If you think about now, if you look at copywriting too, you'll probably notice, this goes for sales pages and emails, social media content, you'll notice that based on, if you're a similar age to me in school, we're taught, paragraphs are these walls of words, right? It's maybe 5 to 7 sentences. But now in copywriting, a paragraph is about 1 to 2 sentences, which is very interesting. I actually studied journalism in college too, and so it's, it's quite different. But for you too, being mindful of that when you're writing your applications and kind of following those copywriting conventions of how, thinking how are people trained to read and process information, and you can bring that into your applications as well. So to really, let me make sure too, because I have key points here so I don't forget anything for you. So one, just to recap, for your applications, you are getting really, really specific. You're going beyond templates and scripts in ChatGPT, and you're letting them know why you care about what they do. So it's not just 3 paragraphs of you tooting your own horn, talking about your experience. You're actually talking about them a lot in the application. When I read applications for my team, I want to know why they care about what I'm doing. I don't want it to be just a job for someone. And I think 100% of people who hire virtual assistants also don't want someone on their team who just sees it as a job. They want someone who's going to be with them for years, someone who cares about what they're doing and cares about their clients and their community and all of that. And so that's one of the most important things that you can put in your application. And truth be told, from supporting my students, a lot of them, when they come in, the applications are, initially all about them. And we're okay, let's shift this. Why do you care about them? Why do you care about what they're doing? Make your application about them. Yes, of course, bring in your credibility and the experience you have that lends itself, but you can present that through the lens of what's in it for them, right? Like, how does it support what they care about and what they're doing in their business? So then to recap, strong applications. The next thing is to use data points. And like I mentioned, if you can't remember exact metrics and KPIs and whatnot from past roles, you can still bring in, an X number of years experience, or you've planned X number of events. And, think about like, what can you give data points to if it's not specific, like 30% conversion rate kind of data. And then the next is when you are creating your application, to recap, make sure that it's visually appealing to the eye and it's not just like a wall of text that most people would scan and skip over. So you're thinking visually, how can I capture their attention? Bullet points, bold certain sections, you can underline all of that. Like, make it fun and easy to read. And if you're not even sure, go study other people who write good emails, study, good content, study good sales pages, and you're going to learn a lot just by noticing other people who do it well, what they do. Okay, so those are my top tips for putting together a really solid, strong application. Now, let's move into your pitch. How to present yourself so they're like, wait, what? I gotta hire her right now. So first, one of the things that I want you to do when you're looking at open VA roles, I want you to read between the lines. And what I mean by this is think about, what they're looking for. I'm sure they'll say in the job description. Think about like, why do they need someone to help with that? So what are their pain points, right? What problems or gaps are they trying to close by hiring this particular virtual assistant? And then think about, what, based on that, what are specific challenges that they have and or what are goals that they have? And then you thinking through very specifically and very strategically, why are you the VA that can help them close those gaps? Okay, so that's number one, is to really read between the lines so that you can position yourself exactly as the one that's going to close their gaps and help get them to where they want to go, their goals. And then the next, which goes back to the data points, right? And I mentioned USP. So this is you being very specific about your unique strengths as it relates to what they're looking for in the role. And so and again, I encourage you to go listen to the live training from last week too. It was so good if you haven't listened to that yet, because I think that also has a lot of gold for you in how you can really position yourself as an expert from day one. But what makes you unique? It's not, if you're new to the VA industry, it's not about how many years of experience you've had as a virtual assistant. It's about the past experience that you're bringing to the table. And your clients love you having, if you've had corporate experience, if you've had, 15 years of retail or customer service experience, that is all amazing. And you're pulling out gold nuggets, customer relations, project management, communications and marketing, all of that. You get to pull out those gold nuggets from your past experience. And then like we talked about too, you can add in the data points. How many years have you done that? How many, can you guesstimate how many clients or customers you've served over that time? And really bring that in. That is what makes you unique. That's what makes you an expert. And of course, bringing in the expertise is also the confidence that you bring to that too, where day one, you get to claim and you get to own, yes, I've done these really cool things and now I get to bring them into your business. How cool is that? Okay. And then the next, this is also so important, you guys. And I teach this in the academy and they're always like, whoa, even that alone, such a major shift. So this is, of course, one, I want you to have a very specific and clear call to action. So in a call to action, you're telling them what you want them to do next. And I'm sure you've heard of CTA's calls to action before. They're all over social media, right? It's like, DM me the word VA if you want to learn how to do this. That's a call to action. Now, in your pitches, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this a step further and be assumptive. Do you guys know what that means? Be assumptive. So basically, instead of saying at the end of your pitch in your application, instead of saying, I can't wait to talk to you. I hope to hear from you soon. That is not assumptive. Quit doing that immediately. When you are assumptive, you are saying, I can't wait to speak to you about this role. I am confident I'm the perfect person. That's exactly what you're looking for. Let's set up a time to chat. Are you free at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. tomorrow? that is assumptive. So I want you to start doing that immediately in all of your VA communications when you're applying to roles. Take the lead in the conversation. Don't wait for them. Because that's the thing too, and I see this so many times where people are waiting for prospective clients to follow up with them. That ends today. You follow up with them. You follow up with them. Because a lot of them, it's not that they don't want to hire you, it's they're so freaking busy, they don't even have time to like get back to everyone. So you know who wins? You know who they end up hiring? It's the ones who follow up, okay? So be assumptive and proactively follow up. I promise you, you're gonna book 10 times more clients if you do those two things. Okay, so assumptive CTAs, you understand their pain points, you read between the lines. Think about like why they're hiring a social media manager as an example. What's their challenges currently? What's their goals? And like we talked about in last week's live training too, is you're selling the future, not the features. So it's not that you do social media management services, it's that you're gonna help them create content that's so good that their dream clients find and hire them all in the same day. That is how you sell the future, not the features, when it comes to your virtual assistant services. And then recapping, of course, your USP. So there, you're bringing in your expertise, whether you've been a VA for years. If you haven't, you leverage your professional background, which makes you an expert on day one. Okay, so now let's talk about how to run a really good discovery call. So on a discovery call, let's start with, there's 3 things that you need to know on this discovery call. Number 1, you want to find out from them, what are their pain points and their challenges? What gaps are they trying to close? And let me back up a little bit too, actually, before we go into this. First, before a discovery call, do your homework, do your research. I would usually like pull up their website and just take notes. Like, what are they all about? What projects are they working on? Go study their social media. It's not something you have to do for hours, but do some homework ahead of time. Very important, very valuable, because that's also how you stand out. As someone who's hired a ton of team members too, I can tell like someone who knows about me versus someone who's coming in cold. And it means a lot to me when they've done their research and they care about what I'm doing. Okay, so that's pre-discovery call. Now, pre-discovery call number 2, you guys are gonna laugh at this, and I kid you not, this will also get you hired versus not hired. Here's my fun little tip for you. I want you to raise your state, raise your vibe. And how you do that, what I teach my students, is to put on fun music for about 5 minutes before the call or longer. So you're essentially just like getting in the vibes, getting in the feel, have a little dance party. Like I actually do this too before I lead, like big workshops, if I'm running a VA challenge, like a 3-day challenge, I always put on music before those just for myself, and I'll just have a little dance party or do whatever, kind of like get into my body and out of my head. And so I really encourage you to do that too before discovery calls. Like if you're in the academy, I know some of you on here that are watching right now are in the academy, you could probably attest, like literally in the curriculum, one of the steps for running discovery calls is listen to music beforehand, raise your state, raise your vibe. So that's what I want you to do before. Okay, so now we'll move into the discovery call and go back to there's 3 things that you need to know. You want to find out as like a fact finder. And with that too, I will also say, do more asking versus talking. When you let people talk about themselves and you're genuinely interested, they feel seen and heard, and they're going to feel this emotional connection and resonance with you. This is psychology. So for you, running an effective discovery call is going in and just being so interested, being an exceptional listener, asking really good questions. It doesn't mean that you have to have this perfect formula of, the 10 questions I always ask on every discovery call. It's actually more about you being a good listener and picking out, they're going to be talking and they're going to say something that catches your eye and you're like, okay, you mentioned this. Can you tell me more about that? That sounds so interesting. And if you're listening right now, take notes, literally ask that question on a discovery call, and you can ask it in different ways too. You're cueing them to continue the conversation, and you want them to just pour their hearts out, to feel so seen and heard and cared about. And because here's a strategy behind it. The 3 things that you need to know: their gaps, their challenges, their pain points, right? So you want to know where they are and what problem they're trying to solve. 2, what you want to find out is where they want to go. their dreams, their goals, their aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 6 months? Where do you see yourself in a year, in 5 years? Like, what's your vision for your company? All of those. Make sure you're finding this out on a discovery call, because entrepreneurs, of course, like, yeah, they want to talk about the gaps that they want to solve, but they also want to just gush about what they're doing and where they're going and why they're so excited about it, and just kind of nerd out, right? It's so fun. And then, so you want to just get them talking about, their dreams, their goals, their vision. And then the last thing, I always asked this on virtual assistant discovery calls, and I don't know, they always giggled, right? But I'm like, I don't know why it was so funny, but I ask this, and you can ask it in a different way. Of course, this is me in my like kind of weird and goofy way. I said, who would be your virtual assistant unicorn? Like, who is the person that you're looking for? And they're going to tell me exactly who they want to hire, which is amazing. Because I'm strategically in the back of my mind listening and absorbing, and I'm thinking, okay, I have this quality, I have this experience that they're looking for. Maybe I don't have that, but I'm going to be able to essentially package up and then create a really compelling, after we finish talking, and you can say something like, this is amazing. Thank you so much for telling me exactly where you are, where you want to go, who you're looking for. And this just gets me so excited about the role, because, I have this, and you mentioned this, and I have this resonance here, and, I've had this experience. And so essentially then you are like wrapping it up. You have the package, and you're putting a pretty bow on it at the end and saying, I'm who you're looking for. I've been listening the whole time, and, I understand this challenge, and my experience is this. So we're going to close this gap. Here's what I see for, me in this role. Here's why I'm perfect. And again, like going back to that assumptive call to action too, like, don't be shy to tell them you are the perfect person for the role. And here is why. They want someone who's confident. And one of the things you can do too, this just came to me here, but we have 9,000 women in this Facebook group. What? That is incredible. Why not go make some friends and have practice discovery calls? We can even put up a thread where you guys can like tag team and find people to practice discovery calls with. Do that. Because the more too, it's like, of course it's going to be intimidating your first couple of discovery calls, but the more you do, the more you're like, oh, no big deal. I got this. Easy peasy, right? It's going to become so intuitive. It's like a muscle. It's going to get stronger each time you do it. So highly encourage you to practice discovery calls with the community. Yeah. And then the other, just looking at my notes here. So last quick tip for discovery calls, one of your prep work too. I would do this even when I was in corporate, if I was interviewing for a new role for VA too. What I would do is have the job description before the call, and I would look at each thing that they're looking for, and in my mind, and I would actually write it down, I would translate and transcribe that to some example in real life of something similar I'd done, whether it's, as a VA, if I didn't have VA experience, I would think about an example in my corporate job. And so that's one of the prep work things that I would recommend doing too, because that way on the call, when they're talking through the role and, specific projects or tasks, and you can chime in and say, yeah, I actually did something really similar in my career where we did X, Y, and Z, and this was the outcome. And you're going to be ready like that going into it. Okay. So those are my top tips. I feel like this was a little bit of a fire hose, like everything at you about, good applications, how to put together your pitch, running a discovery call. But I hope that it was so valuable and gave you some really tangible, actionable tips and strategies that you can go apply for some roles today and absolutely crush them, and then come back a week later and let us know here in the group that you booked the client. But of course you did. Okay, so for those of you who are listening to, who are like, yes to all of this, I want to invite you into the VA Leadership Academy. This is my 6-month Done With You coaching program where we will come alongside you and help you do all of this. So you get a step-by-step plug-and-play system, video trainings, workbooks, templates, scripts, swipe files, literally no guesswork to launching, booking out, and scaling to 5K months as a virtual assistant. You have me and a whole team of expert coaches to support you. And honestly, like one of my favorite parts about the Academy is actually the community. There's over 300 women in there, and it's it's like a family, honestly. And I think that's just one of those intangible parts too of like we talked about at the beginning of this live, where the best part about being a virtual assistant isn't actually being a virtual assistant. It's redefining what's possible in motherhood and womanhood and just having a choice in life, how you want to spend your time, like your income, being with your kids, having time to yourself, all of that. And that's how I feel about the Academy too. Like, yes, you're going to get all the goods on how to be a 5K a month booked out virtual assistant, but also this delicious, like intangible part where you gain 300 best friends who are also doing the same thing that you are. I think that's priceless. So if you are interested in more details on the Academy, just send me a DM, comment on the live. I can get you some information. If it feels like a good fit, we'd love to welcome you in. And just know I'm so happy that you're part of this community. And I just like, it's my greatest life's joy to be here with you guys, serving you, supporting you, helping you have the business and the life of your dreams. Okay, all the love. I'll see you next week. Bye.